Hey ladies, ever wondered if the man you're with might actually be using you, without you even realizing it? Let's dive into 3 powerful relationship red flags that every woman should know. The love triangle trap. There's something almost intoxicating, and dangerously misleading, about a man who draws you into a love triangle. At first, it can feel thrilling, even romantic. He's full of deep confessions, sharing how trapped and misunderstood he feels in his current relationship. He tells you that you're different, that you're the first person to really see him in years, that he's miserable at home but stays because of complicated reasons: the kids, finances, timing, family expectations. You find yourself empathizing. You believe you're building something real, something worth fighting for. And because you care about him, you wait. You wait for the separation, for the divorce papers, for the moment when it will finally be your turn. You live inside promises. After the holidays, it'll be different. Just a few more months and I'll leave. It's already over between us, I just need time. But as time passes, the promises stretch thinner. The clarity you long for never comes. Important dates, your birthday, Valentine's Day, even weekends, are filled with excuses or silent nights alone. You start to notice patterns you don't want to admit. He's always too busy, too stressed, almost there, but never actually moving forward. And the worst part? You start questioning your own expectations, wondering if you're asking too much. Spoiler alert, you're not. The truth is brutally simple but hard to accept. If a man truly intends to be with you, he will make it happen. No delays, no endless apologies, no excuses. Love is bold. Love is decisive. A man who loves you doesn't keep you tucked away like a secret. He doesn't expect you to settle for half a life, or a relationship lived in shadows. What's happening instead is emotional exploitation. He's using your compassion, your patience, and your hope to fill the gaps in his own unhappy life without taking any real risks. You give him excitement, emotional validation, and comfort, but he gives you nothing tangible in return. You carry the emotional burden of his choices while he enjoys the benefits of your loyalty, without the responsibilities of truly choosing you. Many women trapped in this dynamic lose not just time, but also confidence and self-worth. They become so invested in the fantasy that they fear leaving, believing no one else will love them the way he almost does. But hear this: you deserve love that's not built on waiting, secrecy, and endless maybes. You deserve someone who chooses you freely, fully, and fearlessly. The love triangle trap isn't just about another woman in the picture. It's about a man unwilling to do what real love requires: action, courage, and commitment. Don't let yourself become someone's plan B while he lives out his plan A. Real love doesn't require you to compete. Real love stands proudly beside you, without hesitation. The convenient woman. There's a unique kind of loneliness that creeps in when you realize you've become the convenient woman. It's not the loneliness of being alone, it's the loneliness of being in something that's supposed to feel like a relationship but feels more like a part-time arrangement built entirely around someone else's comfort. At first, you might not even notice it. He's busy, you tell yourself. He's got work, family obligations, maybe even personal struggles he's dealing with. You understand. You're patient. You accommodate. You shift your schedule, you cancel plans with friends, you rearrange your life to make sure you're available whenever he decides he has time for you. And in the beginning, it feels okay. You're flexible, you're supportive. Isn't that what being in love means? But slowly, the imbalance becomes undeniable. You're the one always reaching out first, suggesting times to meet, offering to drive across town because it's easier for him. You're constantly trying to fit into the slivers of his life he's willing to share, feeling a surge of happiness when he finally texts back or agrees to a last-minute dinner. You start measuring your worth by how much of his time you're able to win. Meanwhile, he rarely, if ever, does the same for you. He doesn't move mountains to see you. He doesn't rearrange his world to make space for you. In fact, if it ever becomes slightly inconvenient for him, he disappears, cancels, reschedules, or simply goes silent. And every time, you make excuses, not because you don't see it, but because you desperately hope it will change. Real connection isn't supposed to feel like you're chasing crumbs of attention. Love doesn't look like constant compromise from one side and complacency from the other. A man who values you shows it with consistency, with effort, with the unmistakable energy of someone who wants to be with you, not someone who fits you in when nothing better is happening. Becoming the convenient woman slowly erodes your self-esteem. It trains you to believe that asking for more makes you too needy, or too demanding, when in reality, your needs are completely valid. You deserve to be someone's priority, not their afterthought. You deserve a partner who is eager to see you, who plans ahead, who makes you feel like you are a joyful part of their life, not an obligation they squeeze into a schedule already packed with things they care about more. If the relationship always feels one-sided, that's because it is one-sided. Love doesn't leave you guessing. Love doesn't keep you waiting for a text that may or may not come. Love doesn't thrive only when it's convenient. Love shows up, fully, willingly, enthusiastically, because you are worth showing up for. The professional leech. There's a particularly subtle, and dangerous, type of man who doesn't just seek love or connection, he seeks opportunity. Enter the professional leech. He's not interested in your heart as much as he's interested in your network, your career, your skills, and the doors you can open for him. At first, it feels flattering. He's genuinely fascinated by your career, always eager to hear about your projects, endlessly impressed by your achievements. Unlike others who might feel intimidated by your success, he seems to embrace it. You feel seen, celebrated, admired. You start to think, finally, someone who appreciates everything I've worked so hard for. But if you look closer, there's a pattern hidden beneath the praise. Every conversation somehow circles back to your professional world. He picks your brain for advice, asks you to explain market strategies, seeks casual tips on real estate, investing, or whatever your field happens to be. Maybe he asks you to introduce him to important contacts under the innocent guise of just wanting to learn. You don't notice it immediately, because he's charming, attentive, and so eager to be around you, but over time, the balance becomes painfully clear. You're giving, he's taking. The professional leech wears the mask of support, but his real loyalty lies with his own advancement. Where a true partner would seek to build and grow alongside you, sharing mutual dreams and goals, the leech strategically uses your knowledge, your reputation, and sometimes even your resources to climb higher. You become less of a partner and more of a stepping stone. The emotional toll is devastating. You find yourself drained after conversations, constantly offering solutions and advice, while receiving little emotional intimacy or genuine partnership in return. Instead of feeling uplifted and supported, you feel transactional, like a consultant he's lucky enough not to have to pay. Your dreams, your fears, your personal growth become secondary to his ambitions. A man who truly values you doesn't just admire your success, he honors the woman behind it. He's excited about your dreams, not because they benefit him, but because he genuinely wants to see you shine. He contributes, he supports, and he celebrates your victories without trying to siphon off their benefits for himself. When you realize you're being used as a career ladder, the hardest part is often the betrayal of what you thought was admiration. But real love doesn't feel like an interview. Real love isn't measured by what you can give, fix, or provide, it's felt in the effortless, mutual giving between two people who see and respect each other's full humanity. You are not a shortcut. You are not a free business strategy. You are not someone's ticket to a better lifestyle. You are a complete, brilliant, worthy person, deserving of someone who builds with you, not on you. The resource taker. It's easy to imagine that being used in a relationship only means being taken advantage of emotionally, but when you meet a resource taker, you realize how much more can quietly be drained from you. These men aren't always obvious at first. They don't walk in asking for your savings account password or demanding lavish gifts. No, their methods are far more subtle, and far more exhausting over time. In the beginning, the resource taker often seems humble, maybe even struggling a little. You might admire his resilience or feel compassion for his situation. Maybe he's just between jobs, or his living situation is temporary. You open your home to him when he needs a place to crash. You offer rides when he says his car's in the shop. You cover dinner because he's having a rough month. It starts small, and because you care, you give without hesitation. But gradually, the small favors grow into full-on dependencies. He's spending more nights at your place than his own. He's driving your car more than you are. He's treating your refrigerator like his personal grocery store without contributing a dime. Your credit card statements start to reflect a relationship where you're footing the bill, not just financially, but emotionally and mentally too. And it's not always about material things. Resource takers are masters at consuming your non-tangible assets, your time, your energy, your emotional bandwidth. He needs you to run his errands, fix his problems, help him navigate every little challenge life throws his way. You become his personal assistant, his unpaid life manager, and his therapist, roles you never signed up for but somehow feel obligated to perform. Meanwhile, what's he offering back? Very little, if anything. There's no balance, no mutual support, no evidence that he's trying to stand on his own 2 feet. Instead, you're left carrying the relationship on your shoulders while he lounges in the comfort you provide. His efforts to contribute are either half-hearted or non-existent. And worse, if you ever point out the imbalance, he might make you feel guilty, painting himself as the victim of circumstances that are somehow always just beyond his control. A healthy relationship is a partnership, where both people bring resources to the table, whether it's emotional support, shared responsibilities, mutual financial contributions, or simply the willingness to grow together. It should never feel like one person is bleeding dry while the other sips casually from their well of generosity. When you realize that your love, your time, your money, and your energy are being treated like free, unlimited resources, while your needs go unmet and unacknowledged, you're not in a relationship. You're in a one-sided arrangement where you're valued more for what you give than for who you are. You deserve more than someone who views you as a walking, talking solution to all their problems. You deserve someone who brings their own strength to the relationship, someone who sees you as a partner, not as a lifeline to exploit. The weak link. Sometimes the biggest danger in a relationship isn't visible from the outside. It's not about obvious manipulation or blatant disrespect. It's something quieter, something that slowly drains your energy and lowers your standards without you even realizing it. This happens when you're tied to a man who, in fundamental ways, is simply not on your level, emotionally, intellectually, socially, or financially. This is the danger of being connected to the weak link. At first, it can feel empowering to be with someone who looks up to you. He showers you with admiration, tells you how amazing you are, and seems genuinely impressed by your achievements. You feel needed, appreciated, even adored. But hidden beneath that admiration is a troubling dynamic. He's relying on your strength to elevate himself, rather than building a solid foundation of his own. You might notice early signs if you look closely. His career isn't just taking off, it's stagnant. His education isn't just different, it's fundamentally misaligned with the life you're striving to build. His social circle doesn't inspire you, it makes you feel like you're constantly shrinking to fit in. Over time, you realize that you're doing the heavy lifting for both of you. You're the one dreaming bigger, planning further, carrying the ambitions, and managing the future. He's just along for the ride. And at first, he'll try very hard to match your energy. For the first few months, he may shower you with affection, throw grand gestures your way, and talk about building a life together. But this isn't sustainable, because it's fueled not by true compatibility, but by desperation to secure someone far above his level before the cracks start to show. Once he feels safe, once you've emotionally committed, the effort starts to vanish. He gets comfortable, complacent. He stops striving, stops growing, stops matching the pace you naturally live at. Instead of becoming your partner, he becomes a weight you have to carry, someone you have to motivate, manage, and sometimes even mother. The emotional consequences are devastating. Instead of feeling inspired and energized by your relationship, you feel drained, burdened, and alone. You start to second-guess your own ambitions, downplay your success to protect his ego, and shrink your dreams to make the relationship feel balanced. You lose parts of yourself not because he asks you to, but because carrying the weak link slowly convinces you that your needs are too big, your pace too fast, your goals too high. The truth is, love should lift you higher, not hold you back. Your partner should run alongside you, not cling to your hand while you drag him toward the future. True compatibility isn't just about shared feelings, it's about shared vision, shared drive, and shared capability to build something meaningful together. If a man cannot match your energy, your ambition, or your emotional depth, No amount of affection will compensate for that void in the long term. Relationships aren't just about love, they're about partnership, and a true partner doesn't weigh you down. He strengthens your foundation, matches your steps, and inspires you to climb higher, together. You deserve a relationship where both of you are powerhouses, lifting and inspiring one another. Not one where you're constantly carrying dead weight and calling it love. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.